Just before we get into this video, guys, if you want to follow me on social media, on Twitter and Instagram, the links are here. And if you also want to support me on Patreon as well and help out my channel, that would be absolutely awesome as well. But let's get on with the video. Hey guys, it's Wingy here and welcome to a brand new video. I feel like I've not sat like this for a while. I mean, there has been reasons for this. Obviously, the World Cup is on and I've been doing live streams for that. I did my Q&A, so I'm sort of sat differently. So yeah, it does feel a bit strange, but it's good to be back. But anyway, what we are doing today is we are going to be talking about Doctor Who Series 11. Because obviously, there's going to be no controversial stuff at all that you can possibly mention about that without getting in trouble with the internet. I love 2018. I really, really do. But what I'm actually going to be doing is a two-part mini-series where I talk about what I'm excited for with the next series of Doctor Who, and then on the flip side, what I'm kind of worried for with Doctor Who Series 11. Now this video that you're watching now, this is going to be part one, so this is going to be what I'm excited for. I'm not often very positive on this channel, so I thought, fuck it, let's start off that way. So as Series 11 nears ever closer, I think it's October that it's supposed to be coming out, I'm not sure. We're getting new things all the time, whether it's cast members, whether it's people behind the scenes, whether it's leaked clips and photos. It seems that now more and more news is gradually coming out. So based on what we know so far, emphasis on so far, I'm going to talk about what I'm excited for in Doctor Who Series 11. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is actually the new composer. I know that seems like a strange one to start off with, but this has actually been something that I've been craving for years. If you saw my ranking the Doctor Who series video, I think we briefly touch upon Murray Gold, and one thing that both me and Dan in that video said was that his music since Series 6 has been really sort of lackluster and stale, and actually quite repetitive. So I'm glad that finally we have a new composer, and listening to the guy's music, I honestly think that he is going to be a breath of fresh air. His music is definitely more synthy, it's more dark, it's more gritty, more atmospheric, and I think that is exactly what Doctor Who needs. I am really sick and tired of the orchestral shit that Murray Gold was doing, especially since, oh, the Doctor's going to do a big speech, right, well I'll just play I Am the Doctor then. I want a variety of different sounds and styles and themes for different people. Maybe an eccentric, quirky one for the Doctor. Maybe a dark and edgy one for certain villains. I'm also really excited to hear the new arrangement for the theme tune. With every Doctor, typically you get a new variation on the theme tune in some way, shape or form. And I imagine as well with a new showrunner, it's pretty much guaranteed. In terms of its iconic status, the music is up there with the likes of the Daleks and the TARDIS. So I'm really excited to see what they're going to do. The last theme tune that I actually really enjoyed from the new series, I think, was Matt Smith's first one in Series 5. But I hate the dun da la, which I know was in that theme, but I just hope that we don't get that again. I really hope we don't get that again. But one thing I will say just before I move on from new music and scores and whatnot is the actual announcement of the new composer. Now, I don't care whether you were praising or criticizing this guy because he's black. I'm not necessarily saying that anybody here was, but I definitely saw it on Twitter. So yeah, if you were somebody who was praising the BBC for hiring a person of colour, or you were criticizing or being racist about it, have a day off. Like, in the job description for a composer, if you can point out to me where race is important, then point it out to me. But from where I'm sitting, I don't think it fucking matters. So just let the guy get on with his job and stop talking about his race, whether it's in a positive way or in a negative way. It does not fucking matter. I just had to address that because I saw people saying, yay, a person of colour. And then on the flip side, I saw people say, well, Doctor Who's now going to have a hip-hop theme tune. I thought, well, that's just blatantly racist and stupid. Well, let's be fair, myself, I am a hip-hop fan, so I wouldn't mind it. Maybe not as the official theme tune, but I mean, there's remixes on YouTube. And if his race matters to you, whether it's a positive thing or a negative thing, either way, you're a fucking prick and just shut up. Anyway, moving on. The return of old monsters. Now, I don't know how true any of this is. It's all speculation at this point. I'm pretty sure none of it's been confirmed. However, I could be wrong. I should research this because stuff has come out, but I've not really looked into it too much. But the rumour is, what I've heard is that we're going to see a return of the Sea Devils, the Sontarans, the Daleks, obviously, because of the BBC and the Terry Nation estate and the rights and whatnot. And I think possibly the Cybermen. Two of those I'm really excited for. The other two, oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, so two that I'm excited for. Sontarans and the Sea Devils. Now, the Sontarans haven't had a proper story since probably David Tennant. And that's an issue, because we've just had Strax, and he's a fucking idiot, and he's one of the worst things ever. So can we just have a proper Sontaran story for a change, please? Actual Sontarans, not buffoons that are going, whoa, I threw my grenades everywhere, whoa. I really, really hate Strax. It's been years, and I still fucking hate him. Actually, can we open that story with a battalion of Sontarans just bursting in to see Strax and just gun him down in the most epic way and not stop for a good 5 minutes? Kind of like that scene in The Last Jedi where they're shooting at Luke Skywalker. Just keep shooting Strax like that just to make sure he's dead. Maybe in a war with the Rutans. We've never actually seen the Rutans and Sontarans on screen together. That could be interesting. Then of course the Sea Devils are back as well, potentially. Now this one I'm really excited for as well, because as you guys may or may not be aware, I mean I've said it often enough, my favourite Pertwee story is in fact the Sea Devils. And I've been waiting to see them in Doctor Who again for a fair few years now, since they brought back the Silurians. But one kind of worry that I have is that I hope the Sea Devils look like the Sea Devils did in the classic era and not like a total redesign in the same way that they did with the Silurians. But the thing is, they were totally different creatures to what I'd seen before. You just have to do a revamped version. I mean, look what they've done with the Daleks and the Zygons and the Ice Warriors. It's possible to do it. It's possible to make them look good and still look like how they did in the classic era. And I think you could do a really creepy story around the Sea Devils as well, particularly at sea. Now the Daleks and Cybermen I'm not excited for. Obviously this is supposed to be a happy one, but I do kind of want to see what they're going to be like. I do want a Dalek redesign, not too much, but just a little revamp of the bronze Dalek that we have already. Every Doctor, when we do get one, you have to see them against the Daleks at least at some point, so I'm excited for that. But not necessarily the Dalek story itself, because I don't think that we've had a genuinely good or interesting Dalek story for probably since the Tennant era. Same goes for the Cybermen. Like, I hope we get a new sort of redesign of them. I do like seeing as many Doctors as we can with the Cybermen, particularly since they are my favourite villain, but I just think Moffat in particular just didn't handle them properly in his era. So yeah, those two I'm more sort of sceptical about, but not so much. I'm still excited to see them alongside Jodie. Next thing I'm excited for is some new writers, and also maybe some old writers hanging around and writing another one. Now in terms of new writers, I don't know who has or hasn't been confirmed, so I have no idea. But in terms of just getting new writers in, I'm always excited for that, because over the last few years, Moffat tended to use the same sort of people. Russell always used to do it as well, and it makes the programme a bit stale. I just want to see new people with fresh ideas and fresh takes on the idea of the Doctor and the TARDIS and whoever. As long as it's good, I don't really care what those stories are. I just want to be entertained. And I really hope as well that Doctor Who doesn't fall into that trap of being overly political or going sort of leaning one way or the other. I think Doctor Who really sort of needs to remain neutral. Like, Doctor Who has done politics before, don't get me wrong, and it has done it really well. But I just think in this current climate, when you look at stuff like how The Last Jedi went and how Ghostbusters went, and I'm not comparing the two at all, but I'm just saying I do think that I hope Doctor Who just sticks to what it does best and sticks to just being at its core an entertaining sci-fi show, and hopefully some fresh blood coming in, they can do that. I'm also really curious to see who comes back. Now I don't want Moffat back and I don't want Davis back or Mark Gatiss, but I mean Rona Munro, I'd love to see her write another one. I think Eaters of Light was a load of gash, to be honest with you, but at the same time I know she can write Doctor Who really well because of Survival in the classic era, so give her another chance. I'd love that. Jamie Matheson, I wouldn't mind seeing him back. And I mean, of course, I'd love to see Paul Cornell or Rob Shearsmith or somebody like that. Is it Shearman or Shearsmith? I'm getting mixed up here. The guy who wrote Dalek, basically. But I doubt those last two are going to come back. But yeah, Jamie Matheson, Rona Munro, and some new writers. I'd love to see it. Maybe Neil Gaiman as well. I'm just curious to see what they're going to come up with for this series. The next thing that I'm really excited for, and this might seem like such a trivial thing, but I'm really excited to see the new TARDIS interior. It's something that I'm always excited to see. Each Doctor pretty much has their own individual TARDIS. Obviously, some Doctors share a TARDIS, even though there are some tweaks here and there. You know, Eccleston and Tennant pretty much shared the same TARDIS. Matt Smith and Capaldi pretty much had a similar TARDIS. So as much as I do love that Capaldi TARDIS, it's already been dismantled and they are going to be building a brand new TARDIS set. It was inevitable, it was bound to happen, but it just feels too soon, even though it has been like 5 or 6 years. I just hope we get another TARDIS that is similar to the previous ones in the Moffat era, where you get a sense of scale and there's levels to it. You want this thing to feel bigger on the inside, and with the previous TARDIS and Matt Smith's first TARDIS, you definitely get that sense. With the Tennant Eccleston TARDIS, it just felt like a large room. And granted, the classic series TARDIS sometimes didn't feel like that either, but they didn't really have the budget, and they at least showed you various different rooms throughout. So yeah, I hope they keep that up. I hope they keep it as this grand style TARDIS. As long as it still feels like a spaceship and it's not organic like the Eccleston Tennant TARDIS was. I'm not bashing it, I swear. I'd like to see the TARDIS go back to pure white again as well, because I think that sort of really clean look for the TARDIS works quite well. Failing that, I'd like to see some wood again. That came out worse than I intended it to. Failing that, I would like to see a wooden style TARDIS, similar to the secondary console room in the 4th Doctor era, or possibly something like the 8th Doctor's TARDIS in the TV movie. And then the last thing that I want to talk about briefly is whether or not there's going to be a story arc. Now typically Doctor Who, since the revival, has had a story arc pretty much every series. You know, in Series 1 it was the Bad Wolf, Series 2 it was Torchwood, Series 3 it was Vote Saxon, etc, etc. But this time I honestly think that Doctor Who, I mean, I don't know again if this has been confirmed or denied or if there's rumours, I literally do not know. But personally I hope that there isn't a story arc. I hope that we just have, I think it's 10 episodes now. Either way, just individual stories that tell a good Doctor Who story. Simple as. I don't think Doctor Who needs to follow a certain path. I don't think a series should build up to somewhere. I think you can possibly revisit something that came up earlier in the series, but not have it loom over the series, because especially in recent years it has sort of hung over a series and sort of weakened it a bit. I think one of the main reasons why Series 8 in particular was a letdown, especially with Series 9 as well, was they had the hybrid or the Promised Land and stuff like that, and it just bogs the series down with just irrelevant shit, especially when it isn't paid off. If you build something up, you have to pay it off, and I don't think the story arcs in the last few years have done that at all. So I'd say just knock them on the head and just have individual stories like in the classic series again. I mean, I'm not saying drop them entirely, maybe do them in the future if you've got a good idea, but I don't think for this next series you should worry about what's the overall theme and what's the overall story. Just have fun with it. Just have individual episodes. Oh, one week we're with the Sea Devils, the next week we're on Mars, the week after that we're back on Earth. Do that. That'd be alright. But yes, those are just some of the things that I'm excited for with Doctor Who Series 11. Now, there are certain things that people might be saying, well, why haven't you said this or why haven't you said that? I mean, I was just keeping it to 5, to be honest with you. And those are the main things that I am excited for. But the next episode, like I say, I will be talking about some of my worries for Doctor Who Series 11. Because like with every series, you go into them thinking, oh, that'll be good, that'll be good. Not too keen on that, though. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to doing that one, because obviously criticising this next series of Doctor Who is always the best thing to do, because the internet will always respect that you have a difference of opinion. But yeah, that will be for the next video. Anyway, in the comments below, guys, let me know what you think. What are you most excited for with Doctor Who Series 11? It can be something that is going to appear in the next series. It can be something that you want to see, like the title sequence. It can be just a trivial thing. I don't know. Whatever it is, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like on it. Subscribe for more so you don't miss part 2, because obviously I imagine the comment section on that one is going to be lit as fuck. Also, if you want to suggest a video idea to me, then support me on Patreon and follow me on social media as well, because the links will be in the description, as they always are. And if you do any of those things, I'd love you forever. But until next time, guys, you take care of yourselves. Goodbye.